What's up? I'm Sydalexandria and welcome to Investing for Dummies. Alright, we're going to break this down kind of in a little ratchet manner. If you are thinking about investing money but don't know where to start, this is a good video. If you are already somebody who has done lots of investing in your years, you can still watch it. You can make fun of me in the comments if you would like to, but I do hope that this video helps some people because at the end of the day, I believe it's good advice. Now, is it the best advice ever? Maybe not, but it's definitely going to be different than what the bank is going to tell you to do. I had a friend come up to me and say, "Hey Sid, I have I think it was $3,000 and I don't know how to start investing. I don't know what to do with it. What should I do with this money?" And I said, well, it depends how soon you want the return from the investment to come to you. Depends how long you want to let the money make money. That's what the bank will say to you. That's what investment companies will say to you, like Vanguard or Schwab or something like that. I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about what I do. So I do have a regular bank account, which I don't like to admit because I know the bank does bad stuff with our money, but it's there because I do kind of need to have a checking account and things like that. And I have a little savings account there too. That's just how I do it with this matrix society currently. So having a little bit of money in the bank, at least that seems ideal for most people in this society. So you can leave that there. There's different options within the bank, but there's also different options other places. I have some money in Schwab, and that is kind of a broad statement. Specifically with Schwab, I have mutual funds and then a money market there. Now, this is going to be a lot of information, but I'm going to try to break it down easy because in school we probably learned about stocks and bonds. That's a good place to kind of start talking about this because my mutual funds at Schwab, one of them contains only stocks. Stocks are going to be a share of a company. So let's say you buy Nike stock or whatever. I don't recommend doing that because that's not really a good company, but whatever. There's, let's say, a Nike stock that you can buy a part of. And so if that company does good, you get a little bit of that company's money. If that company does bad, you can lose some of that money that you put into the stock. It's kind of like gambling. Now, there are less volatile stocks. There's more volatile stocks. There's stocks that are more risky. There's stocks that are more safe. The riskier ones, you have a greater chance of getting a larger reward with, right? So then we have mutual funds where it's lots of different stocks. That's a good option so that there's some more volatile stocks, there's some more steady stocks. There's lots of different popular mutual funds, the S&P 500, 500 companies that tend to represent the stock market in general. There is the regular S&P 500 you can buy. There's also different companies' versions of it. I have a Schwab equivalent of the S&P 500 because I have a family member who really wants me to track it, so that's why I have it. I'm not saying that if you want to invest, it has to be in an S&P 500. That is, in my opinion, a basic way of going about it, and we're just going to call it neutral for the sake of this video. But there's other things that I think might be better. I do think it is interesting to track it and see what happens, but I think I have a little bit more of an open mind when it comes to investing and the state of society and the world than some of the older generations. They think that society could never collapse. But I say this country, US, is 250 years old now, and civilizations don't tend to last past that 250-year mark. That's just what we've learned from history. Anyways, back to the video. Stocks, like gambling, you put some money in, and you want to buy low and sell high. You want to get in when the stock is not very expensive, when the market isn't doing too good or that stock isn't doing too good, but you think it's going to do better. That's when the ideal time to get in is, so then that stock can do better, and then you want to sell the stock when it's expensive. It's like how you want to buy a house when it's a cheap market and then sell the house when the house is worth more money. It's kind of like that when you think about it. Buy low, sell high, but really if you're trying to invest for a long time, that doesn't matter as much because things like the S&P 500, they have an uptrend. They're going to keep going up. When you look at the history of the S&P 500, which has been around less than 250 years, obviously. So keep that in mind. But that's a good option. Mutual funds, great option because it's kind of diverse. But then we have the mutual funds with more bonds in them as well. That's another good option. It's not going to be as much of an uptrend as mutual funds with just stocks in it because bonds are a little bit less of a return, but they're more secure. When you were a kid, you might have gotten a bond from a family member. They're like, here's this little certificate and you can go to the bank in 5 years and this $100 will be worth $115. You know, it's a pretty secure way, but you're not getting as much of a reward. There's mutual funds with just stocks. There's mutual funds with stocks and bonds. So if the market does dip down, the mutual fund, which has bonds in it as well, will be more steady. You won't lose as much money during those dips. That's a way that you can invest with Schwab, Vanguard, whatever you want to do, whatever company that you want to go with. If you know any other ones and you have experience with that, let me know in the comments down below. Also at Schwab, I have a money market account, which I want to compare to a high yield savings account because I had a money market through the bank that was basically just a high yield savings account, but it was called a money market for some reason. Schwab has that. I do think they invest the money, but it is pretty secure. It's more secure. There's not risk to it like there would be to a mutual fund. So money markets like through Schwab or money markets high yield savings account through the bank is a good, more secure option. Maybe some in both. Whatever ratio you want to go with, it totally depends on you. I think having all your eggs in one basket isn't the smartest decision when it comes to investing, but also people in my family would call a high yield savings account or even a money market account at Schwab not investing. That's more so savings. The investing is the things that are more risky, that are the stocks and mutual funds. Another way that I've had my money make money is through CDs at a bank. I did not fully understand CDs when I got into it. Even at school, I took like a personal finance class in high school. I think we either had to or I chose to, I don't remember. But CDs are certificates of deposit. You give the bank a certain amount of money and then you get a CD for, let's say, 6 months because that's the good deal during that time. And that CD is supposed to give you, let's say, 3% APY. I thought that even though it was a 6-month CD, whatever the time span is, 3 months, 7 month, 8 month, whatever. Let's say we're putting $100,000 into a CD. I thought that I would be getting $103,000 back. I thought I would be getting that 3%, that $3,000 with it, even if it was just a 6-month CD. But that is not the case because APY stands for annual percentage yield. If that was a 12-month CD with the APY percent of 3%, I would get $103,000 because I would get that $3,000 of interest. But if it's a 6-month CD, that's half of a year, right? So you're getting half of that percentage back. So if it's $100,000 in a 6-month CD with 3% APY, you're getting $101,500 back. You're getting half of that. So is it a good deal? It depends. If you don't have a high yield savings account that can give you that percentage, then maybe it is still a good deal for you. But for a while, I've been in a situation where that APY is not as good as what's been promised to me in my high yield savings account. It's not as good as what the Schwab money market is making. It's not as good as what the mutual funds are making. So it doesn't make sense for me to lock my money in for 6 months or 7 months or 12 months or even 3 months at this point, because I'm at the point where I want land ASAP. I don't know when exactly, but I want it. I feel like I'm putting all of my like financial information out there right now, but I'm hoping that it will help you guys, because even if you think I need this money now, I don't want to lock it into something, there's so many options to where you don't have to lock it in. I've locked it into CDs in the past and now I don't want to, but if it had a really good interest rate that I was going to get back, maybe I would consider it, but they just don't have that like 5% or something interest rate for CDs. It's more like 3%, which is what I can get elsewhere. So CDs lock your money in. You're kind of in a contract to keep your money in the bank or whoever you're doing the CD with for that given time period. You can take it out earlier, but there might be a fee. If you have a savings account or a checking account, obviously you can take that money out whenever you want. If you have mutual funds, stocks, whatever, you can take that out, you know, when the stock market is open, which is most of the time, but there might be a slight delay. You can also buy treasuries through the government. There's like the US Treasury Direct website. I have an account, I haven't bought any yet, but it's like an auction. It might be really cool for you guys to check out. You just have to be available at a certain time during the auctions. If you guys want to go with any of these options I've talked about so far, that's great. Go with them. I think everybody should have some cash on hand, not a ton, but put it in a safe, okay? You don't want your house to catch on fire and all your money to get disintegrated. You want to have a safe with some money in it. You want to have some money on you when you're going places, because not everywhere takes credit cards. You don't want to have a ton because you don't want to get robbed. Even though banks are FDIC insured or whatever the heck, even though Schwab and Vanguard say that your money is safe, I personally don't fully trust it. That is just me. I think that this current form of society and currency might collapse. All right. And I think what is really valuable is not some old dead dudes on paper. In a survival situation, this isn't going to do shit except start my fire. I'm just being honest. Like, what are you going to do with that? It doesn't have any real, actual survival value. Sleeping bags, water filters, fire starters, blankets, tarps, knives, axes. That's going to be what's worth something, rather than paper, right? Even precious metals, gold, silver, things like this, that might be worth something in the future for some kind of advanced technology and stuff. But what would matter in an apocalyptic situation, in a survival situation, or what would just make for an awesome camping trip if none of that happens, is survival gear. I would invest in that if you have not already. That would be the most important thing to invest in. I told my friend, if you only have $3,000, I would spend at least $2,000 of that on survival gear. Like I said, if you don't use it for an apocalypse, it's an awesome camping trip and awesome things to just have around the house, you know, in a certain sense, things that you can be self-sufficient with. Invest in tools and resources like that. Maybe watch my survival bag video if you haven't already to see what I have. I have snake bite kits, I have like mini fishing kits, blood typing, stitches, bungee cords, clips, random things that you might not think of but do matter. I would invest in that. And then if you have some other money that you can invest in, do what you wish with it. If you have some time and you're not trying to make a ton of money right now, then maybe get a CD. If you want to go for a decent amount of time, maybe get into the stock market, maybe get some mutual funds. If you want it super duper liquid and you have a decent amount of money, then you can get a high yield savings account. But there's other things I would consider too, like the Schwab money market. It's not my total cup of tea to give these huge companies lots of money. Like, Charles Schwab is a billionaire and I don't believe in billionaires. I don't think there should be billionaires or trillionaires. That's just disgusting to me. I think millionaire is where that term should stop. But right now, that is a way for my money to make money. In the future, I want to have properties, I want to have land, I want to have resources, and that will be my currency, hopefully. But until then, you gotta kind of conform to the matrix a little bit. Let me know your guys' thoughts on this. I didn't talk about cryptocurrency in this video. I have some weird psychic crypto prediction video that I made years ago. I used to respond to comments for Ryan Matta on his crypto thing when that was mainly what he was posting, because I've known him for almost 10 years at this point. I have not invested in crypto. Maybe I should have. I could get in now still, but I don't fully understand it. But I am totally not opposed to it either. Let me know if you guys know anything important about it, anything you think I should know. Until next time, I appreciate you guys so much. Peace out.